So, World of Warcraft is right now suffering from being abandoned pretty much. And I think a lot of people do feel the same about how Blizzard is actually like forgetting about current product, which is Dragonflight. And I'm saying everyone because I feel like PvE also suffers, but I am over PvP here, and it feels even worse there because we are seen as a minigame. And I wanted to talk a bit more in depth about the problems that World of Warcraft has and how it come, because people are like sometimes wondering like, are the Blizzard devs happy about current state maybe, or do they even work about current project, current retail expansion, or do they not have enough devs or whatever. I'm going to talk about it, and I feel like I have the answers about it. But like here we have a post from Chris, which is the maker of Drustfar. So again, fantastic site, drustfar.com if you want to see. The season 3 starts November 14th, and PvP hotfixes. So only hotfixes concerning PvP, purely that. We only have 4 patches, which is quite abysmal. We are currently 4th of March, and November 28th, December 5th, December 19th, January the 23rd. Only 4 patches. And you had like 1 month interval between December 19th, which is before Christmas, and January 23rd, which is before, I think, AWC, if I'm not mistaken, and November 28th, which is 2 weeks after season starts, because obviously they have to hotfix the mess that they made for season 3 in general. And I'm going to add another date, which is 7th of November, I think, or 4th, which is the BlizzCon, where they announced War Within, or the World Soul Saga, which is basically announcing 3 expansions in like one sweep. And the thing is, which I remember for every single BlizzCon and every single expansion announcement, is that whenever a expansion is announced, like with a trailer and with an explanation, with those are the new features and such, at that moment the current expansion dies down, like purely dies, and there is no real retention. People are not sticking for the current products because we all know what is happening. Blizzard is not working on current products anymore. They don't really care about current product, and there is nothing to gain for them as well with current product. Let me explain. First and foremost, as we know, every expansion, season 1 has the most amount of players, season 4 has the least amount of players. It just is how it is. Like there is no real argument or real counter example that shows otherwise, right? Season 4 is generally the last season for PvE and PvP, and season 1 is, like always, the first season of an expansion. You're not going to start at season 2 or season 3, right? And the graph is, if I can show you on my camera, it's like this, right? Like this. So it goes from there to there, season 1 to season 4. And season 3, season 4 is the moment in the time, like stamps, I would say, from an expansion where the next expansion is announced. And season 3 and season 4 is by far the seasons where Blizzard just works the least amount of time on current product, because a lot of devs are just working on the next expansion. And why would they not do that? Because the big money is from the expansion box. Everyone that owns World of Warcraft and that wants to keep on playing World of Warcraft is going to pay that sweet $40 or €40 or 50 or 60, whatever amount of money it actually costs for the box price. That is the amount of money that they're going to get from the moment it gets actually released, and even before with like pre-orders. And I'm guilty of that as well. I also pre-order my games, and I also want the goodies from the pre-orders, for example, like being able to play alpha, being able to play beta, being able to know what I'm going to get in advance, being hyped because of the new features that we are going to get. Hero talents, very cool. New zone, very cool. New levels, very cool. We are all hyped about next. But the issue is we all live in current, and the issue is that we are going to wait for 8 months before we actually know what's up, or before we actually get an improvement in our current situation. Now, is it acceptable for a live service game that you pay 15 euros or $15 or whatever currency it is? And I'm also with the Brazilians, for example, Brazilian players, or whatever country some people are, that have like ridiculous amount of spendages on the subscription, and how costly it can be for the population. Some people pay way more in contrary with their salary than some people like living in the US or living in the EU, for example. This is actually just unacceptable, to the point where, is it normal that Blizzard actually decides to say, look, we're going to be hands off. Season 3 is the last real season, and season 4 will be the experimental season, the fated season, the season where we bring out our 3 raids from the whole expansion and maybe put a twist. Or the season 4 for PvP, which is basically just a rehash of the tier sets that we got from season 1, season 2, season 3. Or just no new innovation, because they're just scared of like opening all their cards instead of like waiting for War Within so people can actually buy that expansion and be hyped about, which again could have been implemented right now in current product. Whenever I'm saying that, I'm saying, for example, Battleground Blitz, which is the solo queue RPG system that could be already in place, but I guess they're going to do that for next expansion. If they're not doing it for season 4, I feel like it's disingenuous, and they know what they're doing. They just keep their features so we PvPers get something new for the next expansion instead of right now, which is kind of sad, really. There's a few things, like for example balancing and talent trees. I guess they're working on talent trees for next expansion. That's all cool. Not only hero talents, but just I think the normal talents as well, because again there's a lot of hero talents that are going to be produced that needs to rework the current talents to fit those trees, I would say. But they're not going to do that for current product. They're going to do that for next expansion. Or for worse, we also have, like in recent history, for example, AWC, whenever it is live, like right now it finally is finished, for the 2 month or 1 month or whatever amount of time it takes for AWC to finish their current cup or whatever cross cup or cross competition, that amount of time is actually just not used for balancing, because they don't want to skew the balancing towards a specific team. So they prefer to use status quo, hands off, you train with what you have right now, and then we will see the balancing. The issue with that is you're catering to the 0.0001% of the player base. That is actually not your clientele. You really want to make the casual players happy. You really want to make the veteran players happy. You want to make also the hardcore players happy, but you want to make everyone happy. Not only the pro players, not only the rank ones, not only the glads, not only the duelists, not only the rivals. You want to actually make everyone happy. And it's not really like rocket science as well. There's a lot of things that you can actually do to improve current situation. I'm going to give you another example. For example, the new BG that they have announced for War Within, they could easily have done it for season 4. They could like bring the new BG for season 4, we play it out, and they could even change it for War Within if we are not happy with current product. But what are they going to do? They're going to put it as a feature for next expansion, which is in we're in March, so I guess it will be coming out in October, something like that. So 7 months, maybe 6 months if we are happy, like if we are lucky with September. I think it's probably around September, probably. It's a bit sad how we as a community we accept those things and we don't have any choice really. The issue is we are in a current situation, in a current landscape in 2024 where there is no competition towards World of Warcraft. I myself, I play multiple MMOs. I try multiple MMOs. I try to have fun on multiple MMOs. But the truth is, if I want to play WoW PvP, there is only WoW PvP that actually has that. World of Warcraft PvP is such a niche that it is very hard to find that same niche elsewhere. I like Guild Wars too. I do some World versus World. I love the structured PvP, but the issue is it is not as fluid as World of Warcraft PvP. The numbers whenever I'm hitting something is not the same as World of Warcraft PvP. I also play Warhammer Online Return of Reckoning, which is a private server emulating the real servers from 2008, 2011. The issue is the population is not there. So once you have played a bit, you kind of seen everything. They have some balancing, they have some changes, but it's normal because it's a private server. I also play, like for example, like the Elder Scrolls Online, very fun, but the numbers are not like for World of Warcraft PvP. Whenever I'm hitting something, I feel like I'm hitting nothing. It just feels like the lack of competition for World of Warcraft, especially for PvP, just made them a bit more dull because they don't need to do anything to challenge the players to stick with them because really we're sticking with them for lack of choice. There is just nothing out there for us to, I would say, compare with current product. So we are kind of in a monopole of a situation where the business is actually having the end all by all and there is no one to challenge them. So obviously we players are the bottom feeders, I would say, the enjoyers from a colosseum where bread and fighting and sweat is there, and we are just like consumers that have no choice except to take the miserable experience that we have currently. I think that it is unacceptable how balancing is right now the issue for World of Warcraft PvP. And it is not even the only issue. Even if balancing is now fixed, which I think will never be fixed, because it just is a balancing thing. PvP has always a problem with balancing, and that will always be the case. But at least with balancing, things are keeping fresh, I would say. Things are evergreen, so it means that you're always going to have some changes and you will have a meta that is always going to be shaping differently, so it will be exciting. But the issue is we have also MMR, which is the issue. We also have the player base like going away because of lack of reward, lack of the reasoning of staying into PvP. There is no real reason to stay right now in Dragonflight except if you're like playing only one game and that's World of Warcraft and you're going to stay. But if you have multiple choices, if you play, let's say, League of Legends, if you play League Guild Wars 2, if you play Final Fantasy, if you play, I don't know, man, any game like Dragon's Dogma 2 that is going to come out this month, or a fighting game like Tekken 8 or whatever, there is no real reason for you to stick on Dragonflight, except if you're a content creator, a streamer, a rank 1 that is pushing for rank 1, a guy that can push Glad and that they are really close of pushing Glad, or someone that just loves the sport, which is basically World of Warcraft PvP. There is no reason to stay if you're not one of them. So again, Blizzard, if you really want the retention, because I guess for me, from a sales perspective, keeping your current clients is way more worth than making a new client. And that is the golden rule for everything in sales. And I would believe that normally a gaming company works like sales. You want to keep your current players, and build upon it. But if you have to build and build and build while you're destroying your current clients, which is us, the consumers, then you're never going to grow. That's why every expansion you get a resurgence of new players, well, not new players, but returning players. But it's never as high as previous expansion. It's never as high as Shadowlands Season 1. It's never as high as BFA Season 1. It's never as high as Season 1 Legion. It's never as high as Walls of Draenor Season 1. It's never as high as Mist of Pandaria Season 1. And I can go forth and further until Wrath of the Lich King, which is the peak that we had in World of Warcraft. So how can you guys think that in War Within, that even if you're putting all your efforts into that basket, that it's going to reward you more than what you had in Dragonflight Season 1? Which is not going to happen, because it's just not how it works. If you are alienating your current players, those current players will one day not be players anymore. And it doesn't matter what expansion, what feature, what you can actually promise to those players. If they're gone, they might be gone forever. And you cannot actually know when they're going to come back. And an expansion, a new one, has to be sublime to have those players back. And I don't think War Within will be sublime. I think it will be a good expansion. I think it will be exciting. As a content creator, I'm always excited because new things will always be great for my channel, great for all channels, great for all viewers as well. I'm also a consumer. I watch way less World of Warcraft these days. But once the new expansion is going to come out, I'm going to watch some PvE, I'm going to watch some PvP, I'm going to educate myself, I'm going to enjoy myself. But not everyone is like me, right? So what I would like to see is that Blizzard actually cares about current days, current expansion, current problems, instead of trying to solve problems 8 months from now. Because 8 months from now, you have other problems as well. So again, hopefully you guys understand. I'm going to give you an analogy right now for how I feel about PvP. I've seen on Reddit, but it was actually very funny. You had like an analogy with pet battles. Why aren't we getting pet battle changes? I feel like I'm playing a bootleg Pokemon game. Maybe I should play the real game Pokemon, because obviously World of Warcraft is not catering towards me and it doesn't seem to care about me. You see how it feels like if you're replacing pet battles, Pokemon, World of Warcraft with current game PvP, and they don't care about PvP, they want us to play another real PvP game, and that World of Warcraft is not a PvP game, and Blizzard doesn't really care about us. That's how I feel right now with PvP. It feels like we are afterthought, it feels like we are not there and we are not appreciated. I feel like they are still working with what they had since TBC, instead of trying to innovate and trying to ameliorate and try to be a better version of what we are right now. They're still trying to work something that is from the ancient times from TBC, and then try to build upon it, instead of like trying to say, look, we need a new house, instead of like trying to build on a straw house that we have right now. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Again, hopes up. Maybe one day we will get a good MMO. Right now it is not the case. Throne and Liberty is seemingly not interesting, but we'll have to see. And Right to MMO is probably in 3 years, so good luck with that. And Ashes of Creation doesn't seem that it's going to come out this year, so again, we are just hoping for War Within to fix all the problems, because currently Dragonflight is not the priority on Blizzard.